Hello, I am Dr. Joseph Isaac, former assistant professor of clinical psychology and writer of 4 books on psychological treatment. In my previous talk, I was trying to explain the most mysterious phenomenon called the mind. Today, I am going to discuss about the quantum mechanical perspective of mind-body interaction. In this universe, reality as we experience exists in 2 forms, the particle form and the wave form. Mind is the greatest waveform of energy in the universe that helps us to experience all the atoms, particles, and all matter stuff in the universe. Therefore, in an ontological sense, all physical states exist in our mental space as a configuration of invisible visual imageries and a set of conglomeration of ideas. The brain is located in a specific space in the human body and is made up of pure matter of atoms and molecules, which forms the building blocks of all cells with chemical and electrical processes. In an ultimate philosophical sense, all matter, including the brain matter that we see at the sensory level, is a manifestation of the material form of consciousness. According to me, both mind and matter are dualistic expressions in nature, differentiated aspects of the same reality. Dr. Amit Goswami, the great nuclear physicist, in his seminal book, The Self-Aware Universe, has posited that consciousness is the ground of all being. In my last talk, Philosophizing the Science of Mind based on quantum physics, I have made it explicitly clear that a piece of meat, like the brain, residing in the skull, can never, ever create or produce consciousness or the mind, because the qualia of creativity is a psychological attribute of the mind with a free will and choice. Dr. Pim Lomel, the world-renowned cardiologist and medical expert on near-death experiences, who studied near-death experiences in patients who survived cardiac arrest, in his wonderful book, Consciousness Beyond Life, had briefly summarized his findings in the following manner. I have read this book many times. It's a wonderful book. Quotes begin, looking at the interaction between consciousness and the brain, we concluded that consciousness cannot be seen as the product of brain function. In fact, sometimes the opposite seems to apply. The mind influences the brain function both in short and long term, as a result of the empirically proven principle of neuroplasticity. Our current scientific knowledge cannot count for all aspects of the subjective experiences reported by some cardiac arrest patients with complete loss of all brain function. Close quotes. All the physical material objects or particles in the universe obey the laws or commands of the science of physics, and brain matter is not an exception. Therefore, the magical idea that mind is produced due to complex chemical processes in the brain is a biological superstition and delusion. The mind cannot come out like a rabbit jumping out from the magician's hat. No scientist has ever hitherto proven how consciousness originates from the physical matter, and the brain matter is given exaggerated importance in the history of science due to the domination of materialism and the great force of mind that controls all the 50 trillion cells in the human body is relegated to the remote corner, resulting in what I call biological dogmatism. Materialists blindly believe that reality is limited to what we see, touch, hear, smell, and taste, indoctrinated by the intoxication of materialism, now denounced and dead by quantum physics. Materialists are psychologically arrested at this peripheral sensory level of knowledge without thinking the invisible quantum micromolecular level and mind's intuitional level. This has led to a mass hysteria about the brain among the public by giving primacy to matter instead of consciousness, resulting in dogmatic reductionism in biological science. This type of massive propaganda and exaggeration about the brain in an exaggerated manner in the scientific circles had even compelled the former American president, Mr. George W. Bush, to proclaim the 1990s as the decade of the brain. I would call this type of over-exaggeration a brain hysteria, because when you over-exaggerate brain, your critical thinking of the mind become anesthetized by the flood of massive suggestion, and you feel that you are a victim of the powerless meat of the brain and its chemicals, and your mind does not get empowered with free will and choices for personality growth. Instead of becoming a master, you become a helpless slave, imprisoned in the domestic narrow walls of the material brain. Here, we have to remember a very important fact, that it is the mind or consciousness which is primary or fundamental in the universe, that helps us to do all brain research, study of brain matter, dark matter, normal matter, and dark energy, and all particles, all the tiny particles in the universe. Consciousness is the fundamental force that makes matter manifest in the universe in the material particle form or the non-material mind form, which is a wave form. It is now proved beyond doubt in quantum physics by the famous double slit experiment that consciousness intrude in the process of quantum experimentation. Quantum physicists have shown that light photons behave both in the form of wave and in the form of particle, depending on the act of observation of the experiment. When the electron is not being observed, the electrons behave like a spread out wave. But when an observing instrument is used in the experiment, the electron behave like a particle. What does this mean? This means that the behavior of an electron changes depending on whether or not the electron is being observed, as if the electron has a rudimentary awareness or sentience that it is being observed. This is called the wave-particle duality in quantum physics. All biological studies and medical studies are only an activity of mind. Without an independent mind to study, no quantum mathematics or quantum measurement is possible. The greatest Nobel laureate physicist, Max Planck, who has revolutionized science, who has given a shift of paradigm in our thinking, the father of quantum theory and towering intellect, has unequivocally stated, within quotes, as a man who has devoted his whole life, to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter. I can tell you, as a result of my research about the atoms, this much: there is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particles of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. Max Planck also said, within quotes, I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness. Thank you so much.